Hello. I talked in an earlier post about Paper Tiger Paranoia and about what happens when we have this expectation that there will be a tiger behind a bush, and the fact that we're assuming that there is one there so that we can protect ourselves. And more often than not, there is no tiger. We're just in this state of ready awareness, anxiety, and tension. But I want to talk a little bit now about what happens when we actually do meet a tiger. So, for the purposes of this fabulous tiger based metaphor, when I talk about a tiger, what I'm talking about is any moment that causes us to have a fight or flight stress response. So that is a trauma in any kind of variety of different ways. And so this could be playground bullying. This could be getting shouted at by a boss. It could be something really humiliating happening to you. Anything which causes you to go into that fight or flight, where we have that build up of adrenaline, we're getting ready to run away or to fight. What happens is, more often than not in all cases, but in many cases, the stress that we build up in those moments when we face a tiger doesn't actually leave our bodies because we don't run and we don't fight. So the stress gets stuck. We're still waiting for the tiger to come and get us. And so our body stays and our mind stay in this readiness for the time when this tiger is going to come back. It's as if you're kind of creating like a new tiger with every moment that we have a trauma like this, where we don't clear out that fight or flight response and we don't kind of complete that stress and release it. So you can imagine that your conscious mind is seeing an opportunity. And your conscious mind's like, okay, yeah, I can walk into this room and I can take on this opportunity. That's no problem. I can see this in its full context for what it is. And yeah, I can do that. Whereas your subconscious mind is like, are you kidding me? There's 50 tigers in that room. I don't want to go in there. That's really scary. And so each time we're facing these moments, we're facing these tigers, we're just adding another one to this pile. And so, we want to basically deal with all of the old tigers that we're carrying around. We want to set them free. We want to enable ourselves to complete that kind of cycle of stress, to release all of that fight or flight tension that we're holding on to. And what that does is that then allows our subconscious to just deal with the one tiger that's in front of us. You're never going to be in a position where you're not facing something which is a high stress situation or a traumatic situation at any point. But what you do want to do is make sure that you're only dealing with that one and that one only. So if you have got a feeling that there might be several tigers that you're walking around with, it's really important to start looking at how you can actually start completing that, like kind of allowing that stress to complete and to release. So what is it you need in order to start kind of letting them go one at a time? And then you get to the point where you're only really dealing with one. And that's the one that's in front of you, and that's all you want to be dealing with.